Pinpoint Doppler radar, we now have a tornado warning that has been issued inside of a severe thunderstorm warning across portions of the TV9 viewing area. You can see that includes portions of Iowa, Keokuk, and Washington County. Again, Iowa, Keokuk, and Washington County now under that tornado warning. That will go until 5:30. This is not a confirmed tornado by any means. This is radar indicated, and we are looking at that tornado warning right now south of Williamsburg through North English back along Highway 149. This is well in advance of the storm that is just beginning to enter areas of northern Keokuk County. Farther back off toward the west, just outside the TV9 viewing area, an additional tornado warning was issued. We showed you that live during our 4 o'clock newscast for portions of Mahaska, as well as just a thin sliver, as we can see, or portions of Poweshiek County and a thin sliver of Mahaska County farther off toward the north. This warning is in effect until 5:30. Give you a wide view right now of radar. And it will once again show that we have a line of showers and storms that are continuing to push across the TV9 viewing area. And the top threat is there for the potential for some severe storms. Certainly, as we've been talking about, as those storms have continued to push across the area, we'll refresh the radar there, and you'll see from Decorah all the way back down to the south. But really, as we've been concentrating on, it's the southern portion of this storm system that has the greatest threat for any severe weather, and that's indeed where we're seeing it right now. The storms that are the strongest are Interstate 80 and points to the south. Numerous warnings along that line, and we do have that tornado warning once and again in effect for portions of northern Washington County, southern areas of Iowa County, and again, that will be in northern Keokuk County, just a small sliver of Washington County, and southern areas of Iowa County. That will be in effect until 5:30. Does include the city of North English. It does not include the city of Williamsburg. Does not include the city of Washington. It does include the city of Kinross. Now again, as we see that red box inside of the orange box. The orange box you're seeing, that's a severe thunderstorm warning. That takes into account Williamsburg and a little farther south into areas of Keokuk as well as Washington County. Inside that box, the polygon that you see, that's what would include North English and Kinross in that tornado warning right along Highway 149 as it pushes to the east at about 45 miles per hour. We are going to go ahead and stop that right now. We're going to put a storm track on it for you. And kind of take a
new severe thunderstorm or a new tornado warning, Joe. This one does include Ottumwa.
Okay, that's again another thunderstorm warning that's farther down toward the south. We'll be likely joining coverage with our sister station, KYRU, down in Ottumwa as well. So we'll be simulcasting this severe weather coverage here from the TV9 Weather Lab. Again, I'm just going to put a storm track on that storm that was moving at 45 miles per hour. Let's kind of project the front edge where you see some of the ragged edges and move it out. This would be in areas of Keswick by about 4:58, Millersburg at 5:02, North English at 5:07, Parnell at 5:13, Holbrook at 5:19, Wellman City Park at 5:26, and Joetown, that storm arrives at about 5:27. That is the tornadic warned part of this storm where there is rotation in the storm. We have had no reports of any funnel clouds or tornadoes at all. This is totally a radar indicated situation that there is the possibility that you could see a tornado with the rotation that's in the storm. If it does reach the ground, form a funnel cloud, and touch down, a tornado is possible. As we've been talking about with these storms throughout the day today, that certainly was a threat. Go back a little farther to the south, and we do see the second tornado warning. This would be in effect for portions down to the south, particularly areas of Mahaska as well as Wapello County. Does include the city of Ottumwa. This is a tornado warning that's in effect also until 5:30, so both warnings go into the same period of time. Storms themselves moving off again east at about 45 miles per hour, some of them a little slower than that. Along with that rotating threat within the storm, we also have the possibility of some very heavy rains. As we widen our radar picture out, you can see a couple of those blue boxes back toward Pella, south of Des Moines. That's heavy rain, flash flooding that has moved through the area. Meteorologist Hannah Messier joins us. And Hannah, you've been taking a look at the rotation within these two cells. So I'm going to let you kind of show that to everybody to see why these warnings have been issued.
Right, so with that warning further to the north, that does include the town of North English, and it includes southern Iowa County. We have that area of rotation that I've circled on your screen there. That's where those reds and the greens and the blues are coming together. This signature that we're seeing on radar is likely why we actually have this warning that has been issued. So meteorologists at the National Weather Service saw this area of rotation, and that's why they went ahead and issued that tornado warning. Now, with the warning further off to the south by Ottumwa, we also see the reds and the greens coming together. That is where we're seeing the rotation with this storm. I'm going to go ahead and circle this area for you. So that is to the south of, or to the east of Highway 137. It is close to Highway 34. And this storm is moving off to the east and is likely going to move into Wapello County within the next half an hour or so. So if you're in Wapello County, that you are included in that tornado warning and you need to get to shelter. But we're seeing that area of rotation currently to the west of Wapello County, but that is going to be moving in, and that's why we have that warning issued for Wapello County as well. Again, further off to the north for the warning, a little bit further to the north in southern Iowa County, we see that warning is in effect because of that area of rotation we're seeing where the reds and the greens are coming together, Joe.
And that storm, of course, moving at about 45 miles per hour. So let's go ahead and put a storm track on the rotating part of the storm that you've pointed out. And we'll project it out for about the next half hour. That puts it in Millersburg about 5:10, North English at 5:16, Parnell at 5:21, the English River Wildlife Area at 5:26, and Holbrook at 5:27. The storm that is farther toward the south, which includes parts of Wapello County, we'll go ahead and put some area of track on that as well with the rotating part of the storm. That one reportedly moving at about 35 miles per hour, so certainly a heavy rain threat with that one as well. But if we pick the rotating part of that storm and again project it out for about the next half hour, that puts it in Dudley at 5:13, Rock Bluff Park right around 5:23, the Ottumwa Regional Airport at 5:26, and Devola area that at 5:30. That's just toward the edge of that as that warning would come to an end. Give you a wide view right now so you can see all of eastern Iowa and exactly what's happening. And again, it is the southern storms right now that have been intensifying. We talked about it during our newscast just a little while ago, and all day long we'll be watching for the areas that would be the strongest instability, and the instability was highest where we did end up seeing some dry conditions for much of the day and where the temperatures warmed. For example, right now in Cedar Rapids, it's close to 80 degrees. You go down toward Washington, not that far away, it's 88 degrees. So just that alone, with dew points in the 70s, provide enough instability in the atmosphere to allow those storms to develop farther to the south. That's why the tornado watch was issued, which does remain in effect until 9 o'clock, and that's why we continue to watch the storms as well. I wonder if we have a line of sight from our Amana Colony city cam, if we can point that down toward the south and west jacks, just to take a look and see what we've got. That'll be coming up on Max 3 eventually, so we can take a look and see. We'll also be looking at our Keokuk County city cam, which is of course in Sigourney. But right now, let's take a look at our our Amana city cam and see what we can find down there. Again, pointing that back down toward the south and west. The line of storms itself, as it moves north of Highway 20, is producing some rain. Nothing that's going to be severe in any way. That looks very quiet as far as any severe weather. It does look like we do see south of 80 probably the highest chance that we will see some of these showers and storms. If we have it, let's just put it in the double box. Then we can take a look at it as we're kind of doing this as well. Again, farther to the south, down toward Interstate 80, that's where we're really finding most of this activity, and we'll continue to watch it as it does continue to move through. And there again, our Amana Colony city cam, just kind of scanning the skies and kind of watching. Again, our city cams provide invaluable information for us to be able to take a look at and watch the storms in many portions of eastern Iowa all at one time. And we'll just kind of continue to watch, scan the horizon and see in the southwestern areas what that's looking like. I think meteorologist Hannah Messier had a great great picture of the rotation just a little while ago, and that really pinpoints the area itself that is under the threat immediately, and of course ahead of it where you want to get to your safe shelter. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at that, Hannah, and then we'll take a look at what you need to be doing if you're in those areas.
Yeah, in the latest scans on our velocity scope, we have seen that rotation is still holding up as it is now entering Iowa County. I'm going to go ahead and circle that for you guys again here. So right here is where that rotation is. It is pretty much along Highway 21, and it is expected to move to the east. So the town of North English, you're in the path of that rotation as it continues to move to the east, as well as Highway 149. You're inside that tornado warning, and it looks like that rotation will likely move to the east, heading towards Highway 149 if it continues to hold up. Now that tornado warning further off to our south, that warning indicated for Wapello County. And the latest scans also show that this rotation also holding up, and I'm going to go ahead and circle that for you. So now this rotation still to the west of Wapello County, but likely moving into Wapello County pretty soon here, just to the south and east of Highway 137. So that's that second tornado warning further to the south that does include Wapello counties. So other areas of rotation certainly could pop up as we head through the rest of the night, bringing in that potential chance for more tornado warnings to pop up. But like Jill mentioned, some other hazards we're looking at tonight are the heavy rains that we're seeing, and we're seeing that on radar too. But right now, here's what the velocity looks like with that northern storm. The storm that includes southern Iowa counties. The rotation certainly holding up there.
And if you are in those tornado warnings area, we talked about areas of Wapello County. We talked about far northwestern areas of Washington County, northern areas of Keokuk, southern Iowa County. If you're in those tornado warnings areas, you do want to get to the lowest level of your home or the structure you're in. Get under something sturdy. A heavy bench, maybe a table, maybe you have a storm shelter underneath a stairwell is a good place to be. Grab and put on your bike helmet. That protects your head. If there would be any flying debris, that's what we want to protect, and protect you as well. Cover yourself with blankets, pillows, or towels, the same reason. And of course, avoid windows, doors, and outside walls. That's where if something is blowing around, if we do get a tornado that touches down and again causes some debris to blow, we can see the doors open rapidly, or sometimes you can see those windows shatter very quickly. If you don't have a basement, small interior room is best. Again, putting as many walls between yourself and the storm if possible. Again, same rules. Grab your bike helmet, put it on, cover yourself with blankets, pillows, or towels. Those are the safest places for you to be. Tornado watch was issued a little bit earlier this afternoon. It does include areas up to and including Tama County, Benton County, as well as Jones, Lynn County as well. The majority of the severe weather appears to be along and south of 80 at this point, and we'll continue to watch that very carefully as that continues to move through the area. You'll notice that we see that watch going till 9 o'clock tonight. It is moving through right now, and will push farther off to the east as this line moves through, anywhere from about 35 to at times 45 miles per hour. So certainly you want to, again, watch those storms for the potential for some heavy rain, as Hannah mentioned as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at the storms themselves, and then maybe Hannah can bring up some rainfall totals that we've seen estimated by radar from these storms, and of course give us another look.
Looks like we have potentially an update to a new warning, and it includes Keokuk County and Bison.
Again, it's a severe thunderstorm warning, so that entire area that entire complex of storms now warned, which is not unexpected certainly. That would include now all of Keokuk County is under a severe thunderstorm warning. The far northern portion of Keokuk County is under the tornado warning. We do continue to see that tornado warning move into southern areas of Iowa County. It does not include the city of Williamsburg. And of course, we have the warning back just north of the city of Ottumwa into northern Wapello County, and then that would move into portions of Keokuk County if that storm holds together with the rotation that was seen in it earlier. Now, as far as what will happen, it's likely that these cells will merge into one line, and as that line does develop and merge together, we will see some strong and damaging wind threat as it continues to move move farther toward the east. So that could include portions of Washington, as well as Johnson County, areas of Lynn County, potentially. Cedar County certainly would be in line for that in the TV9 viewing area as that line moves through. Let's go ahead and add some lightning in and see. That also shows us kind of the strength of the storms, and indeed, there's a lot of lightning, as you can see. We put it on just to show you where the lightning is, how strong that lightning, and shows how strong the storms are. So these storms are entering an environment right now where we do have a very rich environment for storms. The instability is great. That's why these storms are intensifying more rapidly. There you see in the lower left-hand corner of your picture the Sigourney City Cam right now as we're watching that storm just start to move into Keokuk County. Again, Sigourney not under a tornado warning, but you are under a severe thunderstorm warning. And let's remember that tornadoes can and occur with little no advanced warning. So these thunderstorm warnings that are issued also could have the potential that a tornado can develop. So kind of keep that in mind. And I would say, if you don't go to basement for severe thunderstorm warnings, you probably should in this case, because these storms can change and evolve rapidly, and we're certainly watching that happen now as we move just past the 5 o'clock hour as these storms are moving across areas of the TV9 viewing area. I'm going to take lightning off, give you a little better picture again of what we're seeing. I'm going to stop the motion right now and just kind of show you all the warnings that are in effect. And as you can see, from Williamsburg all the way back down through Ottumwa, we do have severe thunderstorm warnings and a couple of tornado warnings that do remain in effect. Main warning right now, as far as the tornado warnings are concerned, would be across areas of southern Iowa, northern areas of Keokuk, and the far northwestern corner of Washington County. That would include the city of Kinross and North English. That storm is just beginning to move toward your area, so you certainly want to watch and be in your safe place now, just moving in. Some of that rotating area of the storm, and farther to the south, just north of Ottumwa right now. Also, that tornado warning does continue for portions of Mahaska and Wapello County. That's in effect until 5:30. Heavy rains have been reported. We have a couple of flash flood warnings farther back off toward the west. Had some street flooding reported in Pella and Hannah, you've got to look at some of the estimated rainfall totals that we've seen.
Right. So this is estimated rainfall over the past 3 hours. And this is not reports that we're getting from people or on the ground. This is reports estimated by radar again. So we have south of the Des Moines area, 3.4 inches of rainfall, 2.2 inches of rainfall just to the east of that. And then just in far northern parts of Mahaska County, we've gotten reports already of 2.1 inches of rainfall, 1.5 to the north of Oskaloosa. So that is going to be further in Poweshiek County. So we're seeing that heavy rainfall. And as those storms move into the area, these heavy rainfall amounts are going to move into eastern Iowa. And one thing to note is with the amount of moisture we're seeing with this storm is that it's likely going to be difficult for any emergency management on the ground to actually see those potential tornadoes, which is why we're going to really want to focus on those radar indicated ones this evening. Therefore, any warnings that pop up, you're going to want to take pretty seriously, because it's going to be really hard to actually see any of that tornadoes, because it's going to be pretty rain wrapped out there, Joe.
You want to pump up the velocity again and see what we're seeing, if that is still continuing in that area?
Definitely bringing that
Again,
up.
had two areas of rotation in the storm. That's why, as it kind of was tightening up a bit on radar, and Hannah will stay on the velocity product right now and show you that. We just take a quick look at our tornado debris detection, really not detecting any debris within that storm, which is some good news in that sense. And again, from the newsroom right now, no reports of any damage, which is, again, as we talk about many times, that's what we want to see as these storms moving through. Many times that rotation doesn't do anything at all, which is exactly what we want. That rotation moves through and we get very little, if any, damage. But again, starting to watch it maybe to kind of start to come together a little bit on the more of a line, especially as we head farther toward the north into southern areas of Iowa, northern areas of Keokuk County. So that would take us near North English. Also near the Sigourney area as well. The storms have been moving off toward the east, anywhere from about 35 to 45 miles per hour, depending on the particular storm cell that has been out there.
And we have now the velocity image of the warning that is in effect for Iowa and Keokuk counties. That we definitely still do see that rotation there. It does look a little bit broader compared to what we saw a couple minutes ago, but we're still seeing that rotation. Now it looks like the rotation is getting heading further to the east into both Iowa and Keokuk counties, heading towards the North English area and Highway 149. So if you are still in North English, if you are in southern Iowa, northern Keokuk counties, you definitely need to get to shelter because we're still seeing that rotation on our screen. Now we're going to double check and take another look at, it looks like the rotation we saw down further to the south in the Ottumwa area has certainly weakened, not seeing that as much, and therefore that tornado warning that was in effect for Wapello County has been cleared. So that means the only tornado warning we have left in the area is the one in Iowa and Keokuk counties. That rotation again still there, which is why we're still seeing that tornado warning in effect. However, it does appear to be a little bit broader than what we saw before. Let's go back. We can see the rotation around just before 5 o'clock, a little closer together, the reds and the greens closer together, but now compare that to what we're seeing now. The reds and the greens a little bit farther apart, which is a good sign. It means that the rotation is broadening a bit, but that doesn't mean it can't tighten up again. So just because the rotation looks a little bit better as of 5:13, it doesn't mean that we couldn't see more of that rotation showing up. And that rotation is to the north of Sigourney. You see that the Sigourney City Cam on your screen there as skies start to darken. Now going back to the pinpoint Doppler radar, the other thing we're watching for is those heavy rains. So heavy rains now moving into the Sigourney area headed towards Washington. So we'll definitely need to be watching for flash flooding, Joe.
No, we continue to do that, certainly. A wide view of radar right now, for those of you just joining us, does show a line of showers and storms that's extending across. Again, good share of eastern Iowa right now really has moved through the Winnebago County area, a little development farther back, and then now extending from Crawford County in southwest Wisconsin back farther south. The warning that was in effect earlier for portions of Wapello as well as Mahaska County, the tornado warning itself has been canceled. So again, as you mentioned, that no longer showing rotation that could lead to tornadic formation. We do have the one cell in the North English area right now, just starting to see that move in, just going to beginning to enter the Highway 149 area. Let's just go ahead and put a track on that as it moves off toward the east. Here is your, let's take a look at our storm track. North English about 5:14, Kinross at 5:20, Foster Woods Park around 5:30, Wellman about 5:31, Frytown about 5:39, and Kelowna the storm arrives at about 5:40. That would be likely some stronger winds, some heavy rain, certainly some frequent lightning as we've seen. And again, if that rotation holds, and again, we've not had any reports of funnel clouds nor tornadoes at this point in time, but if that rotation holds, that tornado warning would continue. You want to be in your safe place. Of course, if you are in any one of those areas, make sure that you do that. We have a city cam up that we can take a look at as well in our lower box. We want to be able to see what we can see as far as the cloud cover down to the south. There's our Sigourney City Cam, as we can see. Again, nothing really extremely definable. Meteorologist Corey Thompson is here with us right now. And Corey, you've been watching. Talk about two things. One, the setup that we had in place this morning. And number two, what are you kind of seeing as you're kind of analyzing the storm itself?
The setup was about what is playing out today, where we've seen some pretty vigorous storms develop as we went through the afternoon and evening. We got just enough clearing, especially along and south of Interstate 80, for this type of storm activity to develop. The atmosphere today, not the most conducive to supercells producing thunder or tornadoes, but it was conducive enough. That's why the tornado watch got issued, and that's why this warning was issued too. It really did show impressive rotation. Now a bit broader, but still certainly a possibility in those areas that Hannah's been highlighting. The biggest thing about today was that whether the storms could stay individualized enough to keep that tornadic threat, or whether they join into a line and sort of increase that damaging wind threat. And I'd say right now, we're kind of in between.
Kind of in that growth stage into the line eventually, maybe?
Yep, I think we very much are, where we've still got some individual structures within what is becoming a line. And you can see that stretching from all the way down just west of the Amanas, all the way through down to Ottumwa, really starting to take more of that linear shape. Now, to the north of Interstate 80, we haven't seen any warnings yet. We're about to get these storms moving into the Cedar Rapids area, too. Those will be providing at least heavy rain. We'll see if there's any sort of gusty winds to come with them. But I think the amount of time that was spent in the sun in that Highway 30 corridor and points to the north just wasn't enough for storms to reach their peak intensity today, which is, again, not a bad thing.
Yeah, because we had the rain when you were on the air early in the morning with the morning news, and then continued, maybe stopped for a short period of time, looked like we might get some sun, but then a little redevelopment west pushed through again, so that may have helped, as you said, north of Highway 30.
Exactly, and we saw more consistent sunshine for areas farther to the south. Our Sigourney City Cam, which is obviously a very stormy picture right now, showed a lot of blue sky, just not a lot of cloud cover at all for a broader portion of the afternoon. That allowed that energy to build up, which you were showing earlier this evening, Joe, and just really has led to that storm development, especially south of that point, south of Highway 30 in particular.
I wonder if we can, Jax, if you want to maybe pop up the Iowa City Cam, look at toward the southwest, Coralville as well. Would be great to see, just kind of take a look at what the storm looks like from that distance. Certainly Sigourney, as we talked about for several times, that we would likely be able to see that storm move in. Indeed it is. And Sigourney, you are under a severe thunderstorm warning, and that'll continue until, I believe, 5:30, maybe slightly longer than that as that system moves through. Didn't look like the winds were incredibly impressive as that was pushing through, but certainly the heavy rains still does carry a bit of a hail threat, although I haven't seen any hail reports in eastern Iowa. Earlier, as these storms were developing farther to the west, there were areas of hail in the storms that was just outside of the TV9 viewing area, and the potential was there for some larger hail. Right now we're, again, kind of concentrating, as Corey mentioned, even into northern areas of Missouri, where we do have the line of storms starting to take shape. This will move in to southern areas of Johnson County as we head through the coming hours, also moving through all of Keokuk and Washington County. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to just stop the radar picture. We're going to move this in a little bit, pinpoint for you kind of an area south of Williamsburg, and we're going to go ahead and put a storm track on that whole line. And we'll go about 40, so we'll kind of divide it in about half. We've been seeing 45 and 35 mile an hour. We'll kind of track the very front edge as it moves into areas of Johnson County, as well as areas of Washington County for a storm track for you. That would put it in Kinross. Let's put that on there one more time. That would put it in Kinross right around 519. Let's go ahead and add that again at about 40. And there you go. Kinross about 520, Wellman around 531, Frytown at 540, Coral Ridge Mall about 547. Those storms arrive. Iowa City 552, West Branch about 608, and Lone Tree at about 611. Again, that takes us outside of the time for the tornado warning, but certainly does keep the strong cells that are moving along. And south of 80 right now, the strongest of the cells moving across our viewing area. So that's some timing for you as those storms continue to move through. Hannah?
And we're still seeing that rotation on our velocity scope. And now that rotation has moved east, still in Iowa and Keokuk counties, but it looks like it's right over the town of North English. And it's right over Highway 149, and it is now just to the south and west of Williamsburg. So we're still seeing that rotation. It still looks broader than it did when the warning was first issued. This was the image at 4:53, and we can see that it broadened as it moved to the east, but that rotation is still there, which is why we're still seeing that tornado warning in effect. The other thing, of course, that we're watching is the potential for those heavy rains. So here's a look at the estimated rainfall over the last 3 hours, and we can see that now we've had estimated rainfalls north of Oskaloosa at almost 3 inches at 2.8 inches. Further to the north, closer to I-80, about 2.2 inches. South of I-80, about 2.2 inches. Further to the north, the rainfall amounts estimated by rainfall haven't been quite as high, but we're still seeing some high rainfall amounts. And Joe, looks like we have a new severe thunderstorm warning.
Just outside the TV9 viewing area.
Okay. So we have about 1.9 inches of rainfall estimated on radar to the west of Manchester along Highway 20, and we'll likely see more of these high rainfall amounts as we head into the next few hours. That's certainly what we're seeing with this line of storms.
We pinpointed kind of some of that rotation that Hannah was doing and did a storm track on it for you. That would put that rotating part of the storm. We tracked the front edge of it, but now the rotating part of the storm in Joetown around 538. Frytown around 5:44, Sharon Center at 5:50, and Hunters Run Park at 5:59. So that takes it outside of the tornado warning area, but if that rotation would continue, that's where it would move at current pace, and that's when it would arrive. We will see what they will do, whether they will extend the tornado warning into areas of Johnson County and far northern areas of Washington County, or if they will indeed continue a severe thunderstorm warning and issue ahead of that cell and the line of storms that continues to move through. We mentioned, and Corey mentioned, the storm energy within the storms themselves. Let's go ahead and find that and kind of take a look at what the energy is doing as those storms move through. And indeed, earlier today had lots of energy in those areas that did see the sunshine, so the warmer conditions. Now, as we bring that up, you see at 5 o'clock that energy certainly shifting a little farther to the east, but mainly along and south of Interstate 80. As we move ahead in time, you'll see that that energy does start to weaken a bit, and as we head towards 7 or 8 o'clock, a lot of that energy has moved out of the TV9 viewing area, and certainly not much around by 9 o'clock as those storms have pushed through the area as well. So we're kind of we will expect that to happen as we move through the coming hours, as we push that energy farther east and south. Officially until 9 o'clock, a tornado watch does continue, as we can see, still keeping in it Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, and Washington. As we look at the storms themselves, on pinpoint Doppler radar, we can see that we do have, once again, the line of storms that extends from north all the way down to the south, including, well, just move through the Decorah area, moving through Fayette County right now, just beginning to enter areas of Lynn County and pushing through, moving off toward the east at about 35 now, it seems, kind of an average movement on most of the storms. Plenty of lightning as well. We're just going to add lightning in, and you can see that we certainly have lightning in the storms from northern areas of Grant County back across Delaware County and Manchester, but the heaviest or most intense lightning just along and south of Interstate 80, and that's where we see the most intense storms, as we'd expect, with the energy from those storms continuing to blossom in an atmosphere right now that still has been untapped and still has the ability to produce those very, very strong storms, the potential for some rotation, and of course damaging winds and or a hail and tornado threat still continues. Till 5:30, that's for about the next 5 minutes or so. A small sliver of Iowa County, a small sliver of northern Keokuk, northern areas of Washington County under that tornado warning. Again, this is not for... It could be certainly some strong winds within it. It's for radar-indicated rotation that we've been following. Hannah continued to follow as those storms continued to move through. Some very heavy rain being reported along I-80 near the Marengo area. I don't know if we want to pull up. There you go. Take a look at that on one of our DOT cams. Again, you just kind of look in the distance there. You can see that the visibility is reduced due to that heavy rain. So if you know someone that's headed out, if they can wait for the storms to pass, that's best. But certainly allow that to push through, because you are going to see greatly reduced visibilities. Certainly some slickness on the roads as well. Not as, again, when you do find rain falling, roads are just a bit slick as well. Not a winter situation, but certainly something you want to slow down as those storms move through. That, again, I-80 near the Marengo area. Rotation right now seems to be a little broader once again, Hannah?
Yes, so the rotation is continuing to broaden. It's still over the North English and now the Kinross areas. Still, we can tell the storm is still rotating, but it's very broad rotation, which means the rotation does appear to be weakening a little bit. Right now, it does appear to be by the North English area. However, the National Weather Service, because the rotation is broadening, their current thought process is that while we could still get some more rotation in these storms, they'll likely be discontinuing this morning after 5:30. So because the rotation over the last half an hour has been broadening, it does look like they are going to discontinue that. But Joe, looks like we have a new severe thunderstorm warning.
Which makes sense into what you're saying, right? That tornado warning will be allowed to expire in about 3 minutes or so. But that storm is still strong, and as Corey was talking about, potentially come together in some type of line as well. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for that storm out ahead of it. So we're going to broaden that all the way across southern Johnson County. It does include portions of Iowa County, Johnson, Keokuk, and Washington County. So this will include Riverside in that as well. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for winds of up to 70. So now as that line develops is when you can see the stronger winds, and with that, still some possible rotation in there. They're going to put the tornado possible tag just to alert you to the fact that, hey, if this storm moves through, the potential for a tornado is still there. Corey talked about being not as conducive to tornadoes, but again, that threat still does exist. So that's why that tag was put in there with some of that radar indicated rotation that Hannah's been tracking as the storms have continued to move through. Corey, see anything interesting that you're kind of looking at on radar right now?
Worth noting, it does say radar indicated on our MAX display there, but it does say that emergency managers near Millersburg estimated 70-mile-per-hour winds as they move through. So at least some ground truth of some really strong winds. Makes sense on the bottom end of that rotation that Hannah's been indicating. When it broadens out, sometimes that lower end can gust forward, and that was right in line with that. So I'm not shocked by that at this point. And we really have seen that take even more of a linear shape here of that pretty intense thunderstorm stretching from now just west of Johnson County all the way down through southern Iowa.
So we've got about a minute and a half. We are going to kind of run down what we're seeing right now, and then we are going to leave continuous coverage as that tornado warning will be allowed to expire. We'll certainly continue to monitor in the weather lab and update you as things continue. So a wide view right now of radar you can see extends a line of showers and storms from areas of Grant County back across Clayton County into northern areas of Lynn County, moving through Benton County. It looks north of Interstate 80. That activity is non-severe. Certainly could produce some brief areas of heavy rain, some lightning in that as well, but again, non-severe. It's farther south as we've been tracking, and this is along and south of Interstate 80, where we do continue to see areas of showers and storms moving through. We are looking at, once again, them just entering areas of Johnson County, moving into areas of Washington County, moving through Keokuk County right now, and farther to the south as well. I would expect that potential would be there for some strong winds of up to 70 miles per hour. That 70-mile-an-hour wind certainly will move in very quickly, so you want to be on the lookout for that. Don't be near a window. Don't be near anything where flying debris could be found. Heavy rains with these storms can be expected, and frequent lightning can also be expected as those storms continue. A tornado watch does continue as well across the area. That will be in effect once again until 9 o'clock, but we'll likely see some of this tornado watch canceled as we move through the coming hours. We are going to thank you for joining us right now, and we are going to join ABC World News.